Your original hometown dealer, Saida, Trudeau Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram.
Humanitarian aid, while now being allowed to come into the Gaza Strip, albeit in limited quantities, is still awaiting to finally be allowed in. According to President Joe Biden, late October 18th, Egypt's president, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, has agreed to open the border to allow in the 20 trucks carrying humanitarian aid. However, not only is the aid contingent on coming in via limited quantity, they are also subject to inspections before they make it into Gaza. However, the most important rule regarding this is that should any of the aid be confiscated by Hamas, the allowance of said aid will end. At approximately 10:56 a.m. today, on October 19th, inspection began for the humanitarian aid promised for Palestinians within the Gaza Strip. A UN flag was raised at the crossing between Egypt and Gaza in order to protect it from Israeli airstrikes. Observers from the UN will be inspecting the trucks carrying the aid before the trucks make it into Gaza. The UN members will be doing so alongside Egyptians and Palestinian Red Crescent societies in order to ensure that it is given to civilians and not Palestinian militants. Meanwhile, US senators have stated that, after a reported classified briefing with top defense, intelligence, and other administration officials, that Israel is not responsible for the hospital blast. According to Senator Chris Murphy, the intelligence was definitive that the blast was not an Israeli operation. Majority Leader Chuck Schumer stated that the intelligence community assesses that Israel is not to blame for the explosion of the hospital in Gaza. They believe it was an errant rocket from terrorists in Gaza. However, Hamas rejects these claims that Israel was not involved in the bombing. According to Hamas, Israeli authorities sent threats to several Gaza Strip hospitals and told them to evacuate or be responsible for what happens. Hamas also went on to state that Israeli forces targeted several emergency departments and ambulances since the violence began. However, these claims have not been confirmed. An Australian government minister, Ed Husic, has also accused Israel of punishing the collective of Palestinians in the war against Hamas. He stated that, "I feel very strongly that Palestinians are being collectively punished here for Hamas's barbarism. I really do feel there's an obligation on governments, particularly the Israeli government, to follow the rules of international law and to observe in particular that innocents should be protected." In other news, another Israeli airstrike was conducted earlier today and reported at approximately 5:13 a.m. The airstrike was reported to hit a densely populated area in Khan Yunis, an area in southern Gaza where the Israeli military told Palestinians to evacuate towards. Emergency crews are working to rescue any survivors of the strike. Currently, the death toll in Gaza has skyrocketed once again. 3,785 Palestinians were reported to have been killed in the war. This includes now 1,524 children, 1,000 women, and 120 seniors, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. It was also reported that a Hamas commander was killed during the strike. The commander was Major General Jihad Muhaisin. However, it wasn't just the commander, but it was also reported that the commander's relatives died as well. It's also been reported that Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant has urged Israeli infantry soldiers to get organized and be ready to move into Gaza. Gallant stated that, "Whoever sees Gaza from afar now will see it from the inside. I promise you, it might take a week, a month, or 2 months until we destroy them," he stated in reference to Hamas.